If you've hurt your back doing deadlifts, you may be wondering, well, maybe rack pulls or a restricted range of motion deadlift may be better for me. What's up, everybody? My name's Dr. Michael Mash from Barbell Rehab, and today we're talking rack pulls for deadlifts. So before we get started, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. That'll make sure that this message gets to as many people that need it as possible and that you get notified when we post again. Today, we are talking rack pulls for deadlifts and whether you should be doing them or not. There's a lot of people out there that have tweaked their back or hurt their back during a conventional deadlift, and they may think that by limiting the range of motion and performing a rack pull or basically a deadlift that is set inside of the rack, either right above or right below knee height. People may be wondering if rack pulls are safer or better for people with low back pain. And I'm here to tell you that there's not a solid answer for this. So intuitively you may think, okay, I have back pain when I pull from the floor, so if I don't go down as far, it may feel better for my back. It might, but what also might happen is when we're deadlifting from the floor, or if we're talking a conventional deadlift, assuming that there's at least a 45 on each side or a bumper plate. So you're pulling from the bars about 8 inches above floor height. So when we're pulling from this conventional deadlift position, there's inherently going to be more leg drive, more quad work, because the knees are flexed more than if you were to pull from a restricted range of motion or inside of a rack. So perception-wise, people who have back pain actually may feel better pulling from the floor because they can feel like they can get more leg drive involved, versus when you're pulling in a rack, either from right above knee height or right below knee height. A lot of people end up feeling this in their back even more because you're only training the top part of the hinge motion, and there's inherently going to be less leg drive due to the less amount of knee flexion at the start position. Whew. So that being said, rack pulls may not necessarily be better for you if you're dealing with back pain, because oftentimes they make you feel it more in your back. That doesn't mean to say feeling it more in your back is necessarily a bad thing, but what I'm trying to say in this video is that we want to dispel the myth that, oh, more range of motion or pulling from the floor during a deadlift is worse for your back than a rack pull, and that a rack pull is a lighter or better version than the deadlift. It doesn't really work that way. As we know, there's so many different factors that factor into back pain, more than just doing a painful exercise. There's so many more factors. So we don't want to say that rack pulls are necessarily better than full range of motion deadlifts for back pain, but we don't want to say the other flip side either. We don't want to say that pulling from the floor is safer. You have to see what works for you. It's going to be different for everybody. A lot of times people with back pain actually feel better pulling from the floor because they have more leg drive. The name of the game, if you're dealing with back pain, find a hip hinge variation that you can tolerate and continue to progress on and load it. We can't say this is good and this is bad. It all depends. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to this channel, and we will be back with more information. Thanks, guys.